Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball HTB Nesian 4020. I hope you guys enjoyed that intro. That'll be the intro for the show. Again, bear with me. I'll continue to navigate, but I've got a bit of a show for you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Now, obviously, as you guys know, there's a bit of a set way I do this. I go from the player profiles to my Nesian 4020 team of the week, and then I finish off with the news. So in saying that, we will get to the first things first. But in saying that again, please spread the word. This is a program here that's dedicated to Pacifica and Māori players, a perspective that just wants to highlight and again reflect and shine, I guess, the highs and the lows of our players, that things that they go through, and sort of giving my opinion on it. Simply because I believe Pacifica and Māori people deserve to be highlighted in that sense, and I just want to sort of continue that. All right, so this player profile here for this week is a player that I think many of you will know. He was very synonymous, I think anyway, very famous for that Warriors jersey and sort of the way he used to sort of play his game. He had the cornrows, he had that very awesome very nicely cut sort of beard, the way he used to go about it. And when he used to score tries, he used to have the celebration like he was, cutting the coconut. So do you know who I'm talking about? Awesome. Well, if you got it, sweet as, and if you didn't, well, let's get into this. So the player profile for this week is Henry Fa'afili. Yes, Henry Fa'afili, very famous for donning on the Warriors jersey as well. So I want to give you guys a background story, and we'll go from there. So he was born on the 30th of May 1980 in Motuotua, Apia, Samoa. At his peak, his height and weight was 181 centimeters as well as 93 kgs. In his positions, he played at a few of them: winger, centre, 5'8", as well as second row. Henry Fa'afili also played for two clubs primarily in the rugby league. It was the Warriors from 2000 to 2003, and there was 94 games. And also the Warrington Wolves over in the Super League from 2004 to 2007, having played 97. His representative career saw him playing for Samoa in 2000, playing 4 games, and for the New Zealand team, 2001 to 2006, playing 9. Henry Fa'afili, for me, was a player I used to love watching as a kid. I particularly loved the way he played the game. He was a bit of a fast sort of player. Didn't mind the contact, but I think a lot of his shine was especially, just that very speedy game he had. A lot of the time too as well with Henry Fa'afili, he, I think for the young kids growing up, you just loved watching him play. I used to remember, as I mentioned, when he used to score tries and, open up the coconut, so to speak, on the ball. And for me as a kid, guess what I used to do? Right, that's right. A young kid from me in the North Shore, that's what I used to do. Scoring tries was I used to just pretend it was a coconut and I used to drink the ball, just like he did. Very popular player. I think, in my own opinion, someone who definitely influenced me growing up, and I just loved the try celebrations and all that stuff. And obviously as a kid, the cornrows were just awesome as. But that's a bit there on Henry Fa'afili. And again, thanks for donning on that jersey. And thank you for your contribution, but also thank you for your contribution to Pacifica Rugby League. Good on you. All right, guys, it's that time of the week. Yes, we all know. So basically, as stated in the last show, I told you guys that I wouldn't be going week by week with the team of the week. I just wanted to fuse week 1 and 2 because I thought I'd be able to get a bigger and greater sample so that I could actually name a full squad, as opposed to, week by week where I think it was a bit weaker. So in saying that, it made things a lot easier this week. Note as well, the Warriors and the Titans did not play, so that too adds to this. And on top of that as well, on my own personal Instagram, if you have Instagram, give me a follow. And over there as well, I actually posted my team of the week card as well, and I'll show it here as well for you guys to see. But look, it'll just go from 1 to 13 here. Obviously, there may or may not be a bench, depending. I'll see how I go there, but I'm sort of focused on just primarily having a 1 to 13 as opposed to 1 to 17. But I will see how we go. But anyway, the first, official, unofficial preseason team of the week was as follows. So the fullback was Tabuai Fido. The wingers were Daniel Tupou as well as Marcelo Montoya. The centres were Toru Taukola as well as Isan Masters. The 5'8" was Dylan Brown, and the halfback was Jerome Hughes. The props were Andrew Fifita, as well as Joseph Tapine. The hooker was Siliva Havili. The second rows were Isaiah Papali'i, as well as Luciano Leilua, and the lock was Brandon Smith. For this team here, the reason why I picked them was, again, I had to add a Warriors and a Titan there just because it was unfair. But also, Marcelo Montoya did have a good outing against the Storm. But on top of that as well, again, it was just about a mixture, as I said. Isaiah Papali'i is the captain for this squad here. I thought he played a superb game. There were some few noticeables as well that meant that they missed out, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And Brandon Smith as well, for me, got the MVP, the cover MVP player of the week. So he is the player of the week for this week just gone by. Again, tell me your thoughts on it. Round one's going to be absolutely insane or hectic, so to speak, if you get the pun there. But I'm looking forward to it, and I cannot wait to sort of name more squads as round one hits. It's going to be a lot of battles. Just stay tuned. But that was my team of the week. In news pertaining to Pacifica and Māori players, I have a few here for you guys. Nesian 4020. Yes, I hope you like that little, news music there. But I'm going to be going through some subjects and topics as well that I think may make you sit or think some part of the fence, whatever that is. I try to construct that. I didn't do it properly. But I'm going to go through them, and I will just see what happens. Brian To'o wants to play for Australia. Luai wants to encourage the boys at Penrith not to somewhat join together. And Brian To'o obviously somewhat reminds you of their Moses Suli situation. Now, my thoughts on it. Brian To'o, obviously, proud Samoan, we all know this. An absolute machine is bizarre. But it was just revealed earlier that he had a conversation with his folks. And his folks said, hey, play for Australia. And obviously Luai, as the friend, as the mate, who wants to represent Samoa, has asked him, hey, maybe you should sort of reconsider. Or was at least encouraging the boys to, still be together. I mentioned Moses Suli because, a few weeks prior, Moses Suli as well put his hands up to say he wants to play for Australia and New South Wales if he can. So again, same boat as To'o. Now my thoughts on it. We all know, right, the World Cup in 2017 where I think, the world stopped, right? The world froze when Tonga, or the players from Tonga, or Tongan descent, decided to play for Tonga instead of New Zealand. You had the likes of Tamaroro, Manu Ma'u, right? Adam Whanua Blake, Siwa Taukeaho, players who had donned the black, wanted to don the red. And obviously, that's led from then till now to Tonga being successful and obviously having a big say in regards to International Rugby League. Granted, a few problems here and there politically, but again, I digress, not the point. You see where they're at now. For me personally, I've always been of the mindset of, I have no issue with our Pacifica players personally wanting to represent either, say, Australia, New Zealand over, say, Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, wherever it may be, PNG, whatever. I have no issue with that because I personally think it's actually, it actually highlights, it just highlights, Pacifica in those different situations, right? Particularly in New Zealand, right? You have a plethora of Samoan players who have still donned the black, which I appreciate. You know what I mean? I actually think it's great. And it's not wrong or bad if they want to represent Samoa or New Zealand. And I understand the significance of the fact that, you had the tier 1 nations, which is Australia and New Zealand. I get it, right? And England. So I understand the whole, let's beat the big boys type thing. But at the same time, I also think that it's important as well, to be able to say that you want to play for Australia or New Zealand and not feel that pressure to play for, say, example, Samoa or Tonga, because mum and dad, came from there and they try to make that life for you. I don't think, our players should be put under that pressure, to be able to represent, say, for example, New Zealand or Australia if they want to. I think for me, obviously it's a personal choice. So Luai wants to try and stick it out for Samoa. There's also rumours that he may let Meninga know, the current Australian coach, if he's going to stick with Samoa or play with Australia. And again, I don't think these are right or wrong, but ultimately it's an individual choice. Damalolo will wear the red again, and that's fine. But you may have other up-and-coming Tongan Kiwi players who might not and want to play for New Zealand, and that is fine. I don't think there should be a right or wrong, and I don't think we should make our Pacifica players feel bad for wanting to play for, say, New Zealand, Australia, right? And obviously, I understand, because there's that rich cultural aspect and attachment to it, particularly for us Pacifica, as you may or may not be aware of, particularly with our parents and say grandparents who have moved, from the islands to make a better life for ourselves, to give back and understand it. And like I said, it's a strong, rich history in that, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if you're a Pacific Islander player looking at this or whatever, and you want to actually play for, you want to give back to your, to your motherland, so to speak, that's fine. You do it. But at the same time as well, if you're a Pacifica player and you want to just play, say for example, in New Zealand, you were born there. If you're Tongan Kiwi, you're born in New Zealand, raised there and play there, that is fine. If you're Samoan, you're born and raised in Australia, right? But you just want to play for Australia, that is absolutely fine. So that's where I stand on it personally. Obviously, again, you want to try and build your strongest squad and stuff like that heading into the World Cup. You want to win, and that's all great and well. But I think at the same time, we need to, I think anyway, not put so much pressure on those who don't really want to follow that trend. Like it may be a very progressive approach, and I hope people don't see it that way, but you should be able to be free to choose and play who you want to play for. So again, for all of us who may be sighing perhaps that Toto wants to play for Australia, we should also be celebrating that that's a Samoan Australian who's able to actually represent Australia and show Samoa, through an Australian lens, or show Australia through a Samoan lens, whatever it may be, whatever the case is. So again, for me, it's looking at that and thinking, well, you know what, sure, but there's two sides to this, and I don't think you can go wrong either way. So I guess that's my thoughts on it. You tell me yours. But again, that's the news there. Second one as well is Tamo, and we all know James Tamo for the West Tigers. He's a very competent player historically. He's been there. He's had that bit of controversy as well. A bit similar to what I was talking about prior. New Zealand, Australia, Māori, so on and so forth. But at the same time as well, as of current, he's in that leadership group. Now, as it stands, James Tamo will be out for 1 week due to a hit on another player in the Roosters. For me personally, I just want to comment on a few things. One, his form as of late has been shocking. James Tamo to me is a player who I think is on his last legs regarding form. Obviously, you wind the clock a few years back and you don't talk like this, but the reality is, the nature of the beast is you age and sometimes it can affect your form. For me, I expect more from him, particularly from this young Tiger squad as well, as they look to rejuvenate, as they look to try and find their way. When you have someone like James Tamo there, you just expect more from him. Obviously, again, you can look at it and be like, as an incidental tackle, all that, whatever. But the point is, though, he's still the leader of that team, and he contributes significantly, I believe, to the Tigers. So again, the news is he's suspended. My thoughts on it, I think he needs to be better this year. There's a lot riding on the Tigers, and whether you like it or not, there's a lot that rests on his shoulders. And that is just not the good way to go about things. You must be there for round one, particularly if in the leadership group. So for me, not great. At number 3, we saw Felice Kaufusi and Kellen Ponga have a bit of a yarn after the game. And for those of you who were not aware or haven't watched it, it was basically Kaufusi doing a bit of hand signals, saying 1, 2, player 1, player 2, player 3. And I think unless you didn't get it, it was basically him, I think, trying to entice Kalen Ponga over to the Dolphins. My thoughts on it, it's all right, but I guess it is a conflict of interest. I'm sure from the humoristic side, you can see a lot of humor in there. There's a comedy there as well. But I guess from the Knights' perspective, again, you're probably looking at this and you're thinking, what on earth? No, right? Like, it's the last thing you want to see. And again, all jokes aside, but there is a very dark cloud of seriousness right here, I think, anyway. And though it may have been done in jest, I get it. I'm not going to go full on here. But there's still that serious side of it that we cannot ignore. And we shouldn't. Particularly when it comes to where Kalen Ponga stands. It's a lot of unknown mystery, I think. And to be fair, his side didn't perform well against the Storm at all. So again, more fuel to the fire. And I don't think the Knights need any fire. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up. Obviously, a few Pacific players, they're having a bit of a yarn, I think. But is the best way to go about things? I don't know. But I think it's quite controversial in the sense that, yeah, obviously Kalimpong is a wanted man. And I don't think it's in New South Wales, regarding the noise and stuff. I'm pretty sure the Dolphins, are going to be pushing hard for him. So we'll have to wait and see. But that is news there for you guys. In news number 4, Brandon Smith and Rhys Walsh have been handed an earlier get out of free jail card for 1 game apiece. Walsh and Smith, obviously Walsh can play for both Indigenous and Māori. Smith for Māori. So Smith is back round 1 and Rhys Walsh is back in round 2. For Warriors fans, obviously, it's delight, it's happiness. And obviously for a lot of fans too, outside of that, I think they're not too happy. But in saying that, it is what it is. There's not much you can do there. The NRL made the rules. That's it, I guess. Bangai Jr., right? He is the talk of the town. He is the popular player that people like, don't like. He's a controversial figure. David Bangai Jr. recently as well, had that incident with Shone Katoa and also Royce Hunt. He now, in my opinion, I personally like him, to be honest. I like what he brings to the game. It's dirty to some degree, but it's aggressive. Some may say hot-tempered. Some may say no brains, but I just think it's just it's good footy to watch. I love watching him play when he's not being reported or sin-binned. David Bangai Jr. to me is a player that will grow. I think his greatest asset is his, believe it or not, his ad-lib footy, the offloads as well, his strength, his pure power. But again, his discipline's thing that's holding him back. David Bangai Jr. also in that game has not been handed a suspension, so he will be free to play in round 1, much to the dismay or maybe the delight. Maybe the delight of some people, but it is what it is. So David Bangai Jr. will be lining up against the Cowboys round 1. And you know what? I'm looking forward to it. Another news as well. On top of that as well, as mentioned, Royce Hunt has basically said, hey, if Bangai Jr. wants to square, if he wants to square dance in the ring, he's fine to do it. So, hey, we may see a boxing match or not, but hey, I'm keen to watch it. Are you? Who knows? Let me know down in the comments. Who would you like to watch? Who do you think would win out of Royce Hunt or Bangai Jr.? It's an interesting question. I know it's rugby league we're talking about primarily here, but hey, the offer was there, so you just got to look at it. And in other news as well, the West Tigers are apparently chasing Britain Nikora from the Cronulla Sharks for next year. If they do, bit of advice: make sure your your wallet is expendable, because Nikora is not going to come in cheap. That's for sure. And last bit of news as well, Tanabe as well as Warwick got a chance to play for the Cowboy Young Guns over the weekend as well against the Mackay Cutter. So I hope they played well. I don't know the scores unfortunately there, but I hope they had fun. Hope they played well. But yeah, awesome, man. But yeah, guys, that is the conclusion for Nesian 4020 for today. Hope you guys are well. Thanks again for tuning in. I will be bringing more content as well. Like I said, when round 1 commences, this is going to get hectic. But in saying that, it's been a pleasure. Again, tell me your thoughts on this. Give me some suggestions. I'm open to all that stuff there. But in saying that, before we hop off, I hope you're well. Be well. And I'll see you guys next time. And just remember, hold the ball.